What's going on, guys? My name is Kyle, and today we're gonna clean an engine. So the other day I was going through things that I want to do to the car, things that I haven't done in a while, and it hit me. There's a couple of engine components that I want to paint, so I thought I'd go outside, have a look at the car and see what the engine currently looks like, and it is filthy. So before I even bother about taking things off and painting them and making them look nice, we should probably do that to the rest of the engine bay, and at least that'll give us a pretty good idea of what condition everything's in, because at the moment, it's just all dirty. That's it, that's the condition, is dirty. So now that we finally have an air compressor in the garage, we can give this a really good clean. It hasn't had one in a very long time, and I think it's overdue. So that's exactly what we're gonna do today. I know that cleaning the car is never the funnest job of owning a vehicle, but it's definitely gonna be one of the most satisfying things to see this clean after looking at how filthy it is right now. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this battery out, but while we do that, I'm gonna turn the air compressor on and let it make all the otherworldly sounds while it fills up with air. So now that we've got the battery out, what I'm gonna do is take both of these terminal wires and I'm just gonna put a Ziploc bag on them. I don't know if you have to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway just to protect them from any water. Again, I have no idea if this is necessary, but we're gonna do it. Okay, so I've got both of the terminals wrapped up with plastic. Again, I don't know if you have to do this. I think it's a smart thing to do. I don't know, man, I have no idea. Don't use this as instructions, just let's go through it together. So now that the battery's out and these ones are all bagged up, let's have a quick little look at how bad this engine is. Just look at the top of the struts, filthy, the fuse box, the air filter, everything's just, it's just gross. It is really, really yuck. All down here, all the dirt. I don't know how easy it's gonna be to see. Gross. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna go through all of it with a brush and then get the air compressor to help blow the rest of the dirt out. And then we'll go through with a vacuum cleaner, vacuum it all up before we even touch it with water or degreaser or anything, because that's probably the best way to get as much dirt out as possible. So I have an assortment of different kinds of brushes that I'm gonna use for this. I would love to have like a wire pipe cleaner kind of brush, but I don't have one, so we're gonna try and just make do with these. I've got some smaller ones, some bigger ones, some thicker bristled ones, and then some wire brushes for things like all the aluminium components, but we're just gonna try and use these, free up as much dirt as possible, and hope that that works. I mean, after we free it up with the brush, we're gonna go through with the air compressor anyway, but for now, I guess we'll see how much we can do with these. So I've gone through with all the brushes. I'm gonna go bring the compressor over here and just help blow out the rest of it before we start using soapy water, microfibers, all the other stuff we're gonna use and try and get this as clean as absolutely possible. So I'm just gonna use this air gun. We're gonna give it a bit of a once over and see if that makes a difference. Okay, so I've blown it all out with the air compressor and I've given it a bit of a vacuum. Now, in all of my infinite wisdom, I vacuumed after I used the air compressor, which makes literally no sense. Try and vacuum before the air compressor because you're removing the excess dirt. I don't know how my brain works, but vacuum it first and then use the air compressor. It seemed to work okay, but now I probably have a lot more stuff sitting on the garage floor than was probably necessary. So now we're gonna move on to the next step, which is sort of just cleaning everything now that all the excess dirt is off. So I have a couple of things that I think might help us in this situation. The first one is this spray bottle of degreaser. If you watched last week's video, which I'll leave up there, I have 20 liters of this for a reason. So degreaser is a good thing to have. The second thing we're gonna use is this spray bottle of soapy water, just to sort of help things that are plastic and not gonna really act that well with the degreaser. So I'm just gonna try and use that as much as possible. And then if we need to use the degreaser, we have it as a backup. And then last but not least, we just have a stack of microfiber cloths. We're gonna use the brushes that we used in the first step to try and help the soapy water and degreaser like agitate the leftover dirt, but we're gonna use the microfiber to try and wipe as much down, clean up as much, and dry off as much as we possibly can. So let's see if that works. So I think the best course of action is gonna be to just do little areas at a time and not get super overwhelmed with how much space we have to actually clean. The benefit of this car is it's only a small 4-cylinder engine. If you had like a big V8 or a V6 or just anything that's bigger than a 4-cylinder, there's gonna be a lot more to clean. But for us, we're lucky. And because it's quite a small engine, we get a lot of space to work around it. I mean, if there was a much larger engine in this car, it would probably make it a hell of a lot harder, but it's gonna be easy for us, I guess. So probably just wishful thinking. But I'm just gonna give a bit of a spray to sort of little areas at a time, and then I'm gonna hit it with the brush and then wipe it down with the microfiber. Again, I don't know if this is the right way to do things or if this is the best way to do things, but in theory, it does make sense. I mean, I can already see the color of the water changing to this brown, disgusting, soapy look. So with any luck, I mean, that means we are cleaning as much as possible. I have no idea, man. Let's just do this half of the car or this half of the engine and we'll, I don't know, see if it does what we want it to. Okay, so I've done this little pocket of the car and it is a million times better. That looks 100%, got all the way down in there. Looks a hell of a lot cleaner than it did when I started. So what I think we're gonna do is do exactly the same thing we did here, but all there, everywhere else is what I'm trying to say. We'll just do that everywhere else. I mean, so far it does look a hell of a lot better. So we'll do that everywhere and just see how it looks, I guess. Okay, so I've gone through everything with the soapy water and the rag and the brush, and I've given everything a pretty good clean. Let me show you what it looks like. Yeah, it looks a hell of a lot better. I mean, you can just see the difference. Look how clean most of the engine looks. I'm gonna say most because I've definitely missed some parts, but it does look a hell of a lot nicer. So now that we've gone through the cleaning phase, we're gonna go through the detailing phase, I guess. I have these 2-wire brushes that I'm gonna use to clean the air intake, and we're gonna use some of this trim detailer with a microfiber cloth and go through things like the airbox cover, the fuse box, anything that has like a rubber or plastic black finish, we're gonna use this, and that's just gonna help rehydrate it all, make it all look brand newish, I guess. Again, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm sort of just hoping that this is the right thing. We're just gonna jump into it and see what it does. Now the air intake really isn't that bad, but I'm just gonna give it a bit of a clean with these brushes and just see if that makes a difference. I think it will from the test spot that I just did, but we'll give this a quick once over on all of these parts and then we'll move to the detailing of the black trim. Now in our specific situation, you can see the front of the air intake is actually way nicer looking than the rest of the box that holds the air filter. And that's because this is the one that came with our car and this is one that we picked up from the wreckers. The reason that I replaced it is our original one had a big crack down the top of it, which was letting a lot of air through. It was just not creating a good seal. It wasn't good. It didn't look good. It didn't feel like it was right. So I just took it out and replaced it with a better looking one, but this one has got a little bit more fade than our original part. So with any luck, this trim detailer is gonna help this look more like this. So I guess that's probably the best place to start, and at least it'll give us a good idea as to what it's actually gonna look like. I mean, look at that. That is insane. I cannot believe how much of a difference something like this makes. That is insane. So I've done this part of the airbox, this part here, the MAF sensor, the air intake hose at the back, the fuse box cover, and it is a world of difference. This is a before and this is after. Let's just before, after. That is insane. I cannot believe how much of a difference that makes. So a lot of the plastic components that do sit in this engine are on that right-hand side, but you can see there's some hoses and things here that look a little bit faded. So I guess what I'm gonna do, because this is for rubber as well, I might just put a little bit on my cloth and then see if that helps any of these rubber hoses. I don't know if this is gonna hurt them or do something to the rubber, but I guess there is only one way to find out. That makes a big, look how clean that makes it look. That makes a world, oh my God. I can't believe that. Why have I not done this before? I'm genuinely blown away. I mean, I knew that the black detailing part would definitely make this engine look a hell of a lot better than it did when we started, but I can't believe how good that makes it look. I don't know if I'm allowed to cover these hoses and these sort of coverings with the black detailer, so I guess only time will tell, but for now, that looks $1,000,000. I'm genuinely impressed by how much of a difference that actually makes to the engine. I guess what I'm gonna do now is get the battery back in the car, tidy that all back up, make sure the battery terminal's clean and the top of the battery's clean. And what we might do then is grab the air compressor and make sure there's no like laying water that's sort of sitting in any of the connections, and then we'll see if it starts. Okay, battery's in. Let me show you how it looks. So there you go, one more thing to tick off our list. Now, is this the right way to do this? I have no idea. Is it gonna cause any damage to those rubber hoses? Again, I have no idea, but we're gonna learn and we're gonna work it out. I mean, if they break, they break. We can work it out later. I don't think they will, but I don't know anything at this point, so let's just hope for the best. But you know what? Overall, I don't think we did that bad of a job. It looks pretty bloody good. In comparison to what it was when we started today, I'm not upset. I'm not mad at that. I'm happy with that. If you guys like this video, don't forget to leave it a thumbs up. Also subscribe. We post new videos every week and you don't want to miss them. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. I'll leave all the links in the description. Other than that, I'm gonna see you guys next week. Bye.